analyze how long would it take, or just look at the last 4 years have been the hottest on the planet. Technically, this is February. You don't have to, I just went for a run. I just had this little thing on here. I didn't put no gloves on or nothing. And I technically didn't need this. I just went outside, went over in the woods and just strolled along. No gloves in February. No nothing. Even in your recent history, think about Januaries and Februaries and 3 and 4 feet of snow. At least once a year, twice a year. Not way back in history. But the farther you go back, right? January and February are cold. Okay. If it's like that, it's here. It's like that up in the mountains, all that. So there are little mites and bugs that the cold weather keep them from multiplying. And if it's like this up in Montana and all that, you read the newspaper, you'll see that the little bugs proliferate and they eat up trees. When I was at forestry camp, one of the things we used to do is drive through the forest and look for trees who were dead at the top. That means they were still standing, but they need to be bugged. You need to cut it down, take off the bark, burn the bark, you know what I mean. And that's what we did. That's one of our main jobs. Besides fighting forest fires, was bugging trees. Because this type of bug didn't eat up and down the tree, it ate around the tree. When you eat around the tree, that means can no liquid, the skin cannot go up to the top. The tree dies. You can tell which trees need to be bugged because all you do is drive through the forest and look. There's one over there, there's one. So we would know where to go, and that's one of the main jobs we did, is bug trees. That was back in the early 60s, good God, 1962 and all that, 63. That was a while back. I'm saying that to say that boss man is moving in one direction, and he is not reading any signs, like I said. He ain't paying no attention. It says 6 degrees downhill. So that means all the big trucks take it easy, because you pick up speed going downhill. When you pick up speed, you can't stop them big old trucks and trailers. You just can't do it, okay? The brakes will be squealing and hollering, but you can't stop it, okay? If you're going around a thing and said have a truck like that tipping over, that means don't go faster than 20 miles an hour, so because your truck will tip over. Right? Okay. Those are signs, physical signs. If you don't pay attention to those signs, say you might be able to go around that corner at 30 miles an hour, but if you go around at 40 or 45, you're going to tip over. Right? That's just the way they put it there for a reason. What about people who are looking at all of these signs in the universe? The last 4 years have been the hottest 4 years on the planet. In the winter, the last 4 years, not we're going to skip one, the last 4 years in a row. Prove it. Here it is, the sun is shining. We could go outside and stand out there and just be standing around, if we want to, right this minute in Washington, D.C. You can do it in New York. You can do it wherever you want. Right now. That means that's a sign. Things are accelerating and picking up speed too. Now, 1 year every now and then is one thing, for 4 years in a row. Forget about the car fire in Redding, California, and over in Santa Rosa, year before that. The car fire, if you remember, it was so hot and spinning that it produced tornadoes. You know what a tornado is? It's air blowing and making it hot. The blacksmith used to pump air on the stuff, the coal, to make it hotter. Imagine a tornado of air blowing inside of a fire, swooping in the fresh air out there, and that fire gets so hot. I mean, there's tornadoes inside the fire, which makes it super hot, and it destroys everything. The fires now are not the fires that we used to have. We used to fight forest fires. No. They're not the same fires at all. These fires, if you've seen Berlin after World War II, if you think about what you see in the newspaper, whole areas are bombed out. Santa Rosa, a town, Santa Rosa north of San Francisco, up on 101, used to be the smoke capital of California up there. It's really the smoke capital now, burned down. What about Paradise? They call this city town Paradise, just last year. The people got trapped and they didn't expect, anything like that. So a lot of people just got trapped, and they panicked, they didn't know what to do. A regular old forest fire, brush fire, you could take your garden hose and they would tell you wet down your roof and wet down the stuff around your house and you'll be all right. Not now, no sir. What I'm talking about is the signs of Allah. Here are these people. But then how many a sign is there in the heavens and the earth which they pass by unthinkingly, on which they turn their backs? See, the Quran is a continuous book. If you went back to Noah's time as a flood, or what did Noah say to his son, come on boy, get on this boat because it's all over. So his boy looked and said, shoot, I'm going to climb up near a mountain over here and say, probably Mount Everest or something like that. There's one more, we're going to make it, Of course he drowned. The Quran, like most religious literature, speaks in signs, symbols, prophetic pictures, and a lot of the Quran is, some of it is kind of like what they call arkan. It's rules and regulations, clearly arkan. Then mutashabihat is allegorical stuff. You can read it and get one meaning out of it, and that's true. Somebody else read it and they get another meaning out of it, and it's true, because it's an allegory. It's a story. You know what I mean? It's not arkan. You don't have to get principles and morals and ethics. The whole book is full of morals and ethics and guidelines, right? And the sunnah Allah for the things that you're supposed to do and carry on. Okay. The point I'm making is we're in an emergency. It's not, and personally, I feel good all the time. The closer I get to this part of life, the better I feel. But there's we pray to Allah about anxiety and grief. We haven't been anxious about nothing. But there's a pinch of anxiety. You know what that anxiety is? About Allah's, wa ta'ala's creation. Now, there's one point of anxiousness and another part of yaqeen, certainty. The earth is said to be 4.5 billion years old, and there's been ice ages, water ages. I mean, there's been so many things. It's been times when the greenhouse effect has been super duper. You know what I mean? And probably very gaseous, and it's been times when plants was probably so big. You know, all the oil we get is from old plants and dead animals. Probably dinosaurs are pumping them. Yeah. Way down deep, that's what that oil comes from. Decayed, you know. But the thing about it is, the earth has went through many changes. In 4.5 billion years. It says, the scientists say there's another 4.5 billion years going ahead. Okay, so, excuse me 1 second, I have to turn this boy off. Salam alaikum. Yes, I sure am. Okay. You can call me back after a while. Okay. So anyway, the whole earth is going through its own process. It had 4.5 billion years going that way, and 4.5 billion years going backwards. Even they estimate the sun. The sun and water and all of that. Actually, the Quran gives a beautiful rendition that the whole heavens and earth was one solid mass. Then Allah clove it asunder and created every living thing from water. Technically, that's the Big Bang theory. The whole earth. That's doing this cycle, let's say 9 billion years. We have no understanding of forever backwards till Allah created all this, or forever forward. We don't know what cycle we're in. This whole universe is, man, it's mind-boggling if you just try to understand. If you try to grab or get hold to just the size of the universe, the possibilities of the universe. So there's a certain type of yaqeen that I'm talking. This is a yaqeen that it don't make no difference what me and you do on earth, or what this man do on earth. The earth is a living organism. And the earth has went through many changes, and a million years, billions of years, ain't nothing to the earth. If we don't do nothing, the earth is a living organism. It's going to straighten out the human being. It's going to wear them out. The signs are already there. Homeboy, you're having 100-year floods every year, right? You hear that stuff all the time? 100-year floods every year. You're having 100-year fires every year. And everybody just goes out and gets it. They're driving like it ain't nothing. We don't want to be like that. We don't want to be like that because we want to be a part of the Khalifa that is a custodian. One of the names of Khalifa is custodian. I gave you Caliphate on earth. And so Bakra, custodianship too. Vicegerent, you're a Khalifa. The Khalifa's job is to keep things in balance, to keep things in order. The shaitan is in charge. The shaitan is riba. The shaitan is all of that. He's technically managing everything. And he can't do the right thing. He'll pollute all the water. He doesn't care. He can't help himself because that's who he is. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that for the human being, that if the good people don't check the bad people, there would be many churches, synagogues, mosques, and names, which Allah's names, remember, would be pulled down. The same thing in the earth. If the good people don't get charged, the bad people, you already see what they're doing. Now, I'll get to the main part of the talk, but part of the talk is not only do people see all the signs are here. My personal feeling is, how can anybody miss that? And they get stronger. They get stronger every year. It ain't that they hit one time and wake you up and you, no. Now it's all the time, all year long. When the rain hits somewhere, and you see down in Texas 2 years ago, they weren't ocean-going boats, but they were all, remember them big boats, big pleasure cruisers going down the street. The big, no, they weren't. They're not little fishing boats and not little motor boats. They were pleasure cruisers. Am I lying? They were pleasure cruisers down in Houston, going down the street, rescuing people. Guess what? People have rebuilt houses right in the same place. It's okay. It's guaranteed to flood but that's okay. We don't want to be like that. Personally, there is a little anxiety. There's anxiety and there's yakin. Anxiety is, we would like to be, if human beings made the problem, human beings can solve it, right? But what would it take to solve the problem? What would it take to make the earth where it has that beautiful balance and all that? And we feel like that's our mission. We felt like that's our mission all the time. All the literature talks about it. We want to influence the direction of change. We don't want to make nobody do nothing. All of that is 10, 20 years old. All of our stuff about Christian, Muslim, making a world that Moses, Jesus, and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam would be proud of. That's been our push all along. And now, it seems as though this is a must. And that's what the talk about is today. It seems like that people are sending their children to school and they're getting degrees and they're going around. And they have done no calculations, the general public. We haven't even. How long can we keep this up till we get to the point of no return? We've talked about this lecture before. If you're going to Europe 3,000 miles away, if you go out 1,000 miles and you have a problem in your boat or whatever, you can turn around and come back. But if you go out, if it's 3,000 miles and you go 1,600 miles, you can't come back. It's closer to keep going. The point of no return. What part is it on earth that we get to the point where the human being cannot reverse the process on earth? What is that point? Let's get out our calculus or whatever the algebra. X is the number, right? The unknown. How long would it be 4 years in a row of heat, right? The hottest years on the planet. How long is it going to take at 70 degrees in the Arctic to melt all of that? Last summer, I could not sleep. It was 68 degrees up in the Arctic Circle. And watch that stuff in Greenland, all that water. I mean, you ought to see. I just turned the TV off. It's not avoiding reality. It's just, what can I do? We don't want to do that no more. What can I do to stop it? Who feels like that? Probably 80% of the people in the world. I can't do anything about it. We don't want to do that anymore. We want to be an agent of change. And all of it is going to take what do we think it will take? Or from our position and from where we're at right now. Of course, when we leave here, we're going back to California. We're going to go through all the little changes with the court, with our property, all of that. We're going to fix our property here. We was working yesterday. But technically, our property don't mean squat compared to where we're heading. The Masjid in Oakland, the property out there, don't mean nothing compared to what's happening. That's the way I feel about it personally. It don't mean, well, let's revise it. It means a little something. We're going to go out there and take care of it. Suppose we get the property back, which we will. Suppose we get billions of dollars for them hassling us. 95% chance we will. Suppose. And the world keeps going the way it is. Right? What good is you sending your child to the university, and can you plan 10 years from now? You can't do it. When is this going to take, when are they going to stop and say, stop? We got to do something different. We got to figure out something different. Boss man is not going to do it. We have to do it. And we have to do it outside of his institutions. That means the church, the mosque, the synagogue, the people that have their little money is little, and we're not asking the government anything. The government is not going to help. They done already proved it. The government is going to spend every dime it's got to stop you from fixing the earth. Does anybody remember the day we started talking about, several years ago, about homeless shelter or unhoused or three-star homeless shelters? They sold that property the next day.